In one of the tapes, we hear that Poppy thought the Hour of Joy was a big escape plan, but we actually know that wasn't the case. So why can't the prototype leave the factory? That would have been the perfect opportunity, but it goes even further than this because the prototype convinced Poppy that they can't leave the factory, not back then, not now, never. So then this makes me ask the question, what could the prototype's goal even be? Well, we learn in one of the tapes that he's been after some sort of secret probably for about 10 years now. At least that's how long it's been since the Hour of Joy, and he's using Harley Sawyer to find that secret.
Your suggestions?
To produce the results I'm after. Even when this place was fully operational, we were beating our heads against this. I can only be reactive up here. Then of what use are you? You know I'm still your best shot at cracking that secret. If I weren't, you would have already killed me. A sound observation.
Yes.
You have made yourself useful.
Hearing this makes me think that what the prototype is after will be a huge reveal in one of the upcoming chapters and possibly even a plot twist. But the thing that really makes my head spin, why on planet Earth would the prototype need Sawyer in order to figure out this secret? From what we've seen, especially since the prototype doesn't seem to be an organic being, but rather he's some kind of digital mechanical thing, why would he need Sawyer's intelligence? The prototype has to be so smart he'd make Harley look like a 5th grader. He literally almost escaped his containment room using an alarm clock.
In relation, Experiment 1006, the prototype. A close call occurred this week in which he nearly breached containment. The prototype seemingly disassembled the digital alarm clock within his room and utilized the battery, along with several other components, to create a laser pointer, which he then fired into the security camera, disabling it. These actions allowed him 28.3 seconds completely unmonitored. Once function returned to the camera, the room appeared to be empty. One surveillance specialist went in to confirm his absence. However, upon opening the door, she realized that the prototype had hidden in one of the camera's blind spots. The prototype attempted to escape through the open door. However, another surveillance specialist was able to remotely relock the door, despite the other specialist still being inside. One casualty occurred.
And that's not the only time he escaped, because in the Chapter 3 ARG, we learned that he had an escape plan with Catnap when he was still an orphan, but for some reason he didn't take it. So this makes me think, if the prototype doesn't want to leave, and he's smarter than Harley, what could Harley do for the prototype that it can't just do itself? Well, the tape actually hints at what this could be. Listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. The prototype says that Harley is failing to produce the results it's after. Harley doesn't have labs access. Harley says that the prototype has no staff and virtually no test subjects. Whatever they're trying to do is a problem that Playtime Co. has had since before the Hour of Joy, and Harley can only be reactive to whatever it is they're trying to do. Which leads me to the conclusion that the prototype wants a body. Think about it. If the prototype is smarter than Harley in general, in terms of maybe IQ, if that's what they're measuring with, the only thing that Harley has on the prototype is experience. The experience of being the head of the Bigger Bodies initiative. He was pretty much making every single toy, and he has his expertise as being a neurosurgeon. And the prototype needs test subjects? What is the prototype trying to do? Create more toys? I don't think so, because if they're after some kind of secret, then it's not really a secret anymore. They've done it like 300 times. I think Joy was experiment 300 and something, but still, that's only half the picture. The other half is the Untitled tape, where Poppy says that the prototype explained to her that they can never leave the factory after everything that's happened, which is true. I mean, if in real life we saw a toy or even the prototype casually walking down the street, it'd be shot on sight. But what's the one way you cannot be shot? Well, if you just are a normal person. And let me ask you another question. Why would the prototype keep the orphans alive? Did he suddenly just decide to become a philanthropist and do some good deeds for the young? Instead, I think he's keeping the orphans to be tested on so that when they've cracked the secret, aka how to transport the consciousness of the prototype into a body, they'll be ready for it. And notice Harley's wording in the tape too. He says no staff and virtually no test subjects.
Time is precisely what we do not have. Then I suggest you find some more. But you have no staff, virtually no test subjects. It's hardly ideal conditions.
Meaning there probably aren't many orphans left for his testing, and with Harley only being reactive to whatever it is they're doing, this makes me think that the prototype is the one physically doing the experiments in the labs. Meanwhile, Harley can only give instructions on what to do, making it harder for him because it's like that game where one person reads the instructions and the other person has to defuse a bomb. I don't know if you ever played that game, but it's pretty frustrating. So let's say that this is their motive. The prototype wants to transfer his consciousness into a body, and maybe even Harley Sawyer could do the same. So why would they be running out of time? The Hour of Joy was 10 years ago. Maybe they wasted a few months getting things set up or agreeing on what they're gonna do, but they've had time like you can't imagine. Why all of a sudden are they out of time? Well, that's because we're here, and the prototype doesn't just want a body, but he wants our body. Have you noticed that the prototype never actually seems to threaten us? Look at how easily it just kills Catnap. Just one quick stab and it's dead. And yet in chapter 2, when it drags away Mommy Longlegs, it doesn't kill us. And when it kills Catnap, also doesn't kill us. And in chapter 4, it seems pretty clear that the prototype was following or stalking us this entire time. Why else would we just so happen to see its shadow after Kissy pulls us in? It was clearly following us and seeing what we were going to do. And so this leads me to believe that the tape was recorded sometime after we entered the factory, as from the Story So Far videos, we're led to believe that Harley has been watching us from the beginning, meaning he could easily warn the prototype that we've arrived. Or maybe he didn't need to. Maybe the prototype actually invited us here from the very start. And I mean it. The very start. Before we even set foot in Playtime Co., we see a letter saying, "Everyone thinks the staff disappeared 10 years ago. We're still here. Find the flower." Which turned out to be a big fat lie, because in chapter 4 we might see all of the staff, but the letter clearly meant they would still be alive. So whoever wrote this was lying to us, had a reason to lie to us, and knew where we lived in order to send us this package. Poppy was stuck in her case, so she couldn't have done it. Kissy can barely operate a lever, so no chance she wrote this letter. I mean, maybe the word disappeared is spelled wrong, but still no way she wrote it. There's no way Huggy did it. Yarnaby couldn't, he acts like a dog. Probably wasn't Doughy. So who's the most likely candidate for this? Considering that Harley was ahead at Playtime Co., so it wouldn't even be a stretch to say that he could find employee records, have the prototype write the letter, and send it right to us. But if this is true, it creates a problem. Why would they send a letter to us if they need more time before taking our body, especially with the urgency that we hear in the tape? And why would they want us to free Poppy by finding the flower? Well, for that one, it's a little bit easy because the prototype has let us do stuff in the past in order to use it against us, like having us plant the bombs in order so that he could take them and use it to blow up Safe Haven. So the prototype could have used us to free Poppy for some other kind of purpose. But there's still the question, why would they want us to come if they're running low on time? It doesn't make sense. Why would they just intentionally rush themselves? Well, I could be wrong about the timing of the tape, because everything else points to this theory being true, so I'm not going to say that this theory has holes in it, but rather I might have been wrong about when this tape was recorded. It's possible there was another reason for their time constraint that doesn't seem to be easily findable. But what seems very clear to me is that they aren't low on time anymore. They've already finished, and the prototype has the secret, because in chapter 4, we easily kill Harley. It wasn't even a challenge. Why would the prototype not step in and try to kill us when it needs Harley to figure out the secret? What else could have it been doing? Having lunch? Having a coffee with Poppy? There's nothing else the prototype could have been doing other than at least observing us kill Harley. And so this would mean that the prototype has the secret, and now we're down in the labs, the exact place Harley wasn't allowed access to, most likely because the experiments were down there, perfectly setting up the next chapter where the prototype could harvest our body and transfer its own consciousness into us, and then escape into the real world undetected.